Hi, this segment is about the how does the internet work from the perspective of the web designer with it, and it's more of the front end with it as well, so you can understand how this actually works with it and how you connect to it as well with it. So I pre-drew a lot of this so we could save time on here. So this first tower that I'm drawing here is your computer. So this doesn't have to be your computer. It could be any device, cell phone, tablets, laptop that you're looking at right now with it. So this is what it represents. Inside of this is your web browser inside of this right now with it. And I like to connect to my working tablet here and show you some of the things we're going to talk about in here with it. So just to give you some sense of what we're talking about on the display for this as well. So in your web browser, you have this web address right here. This is called the URL up here with it. This is basically stands for Uniform Resource Locator. Is their search field with it. So let me give you an example. If I looked up like Amazon, it's going to automatically put in a couple of things in there, such as the HTTP browser and what actually takes place when you put it in here in your search field with it. So you type this and this becomes like a search field, and it puts in the .com for you. And then the first step is you make a request in here with it. So you're basically trying to get out from where you're at, and you're making that request to connect to your first layer that you will get to here is called Internet Service Provider. This is the provider that actually allows you to make sure that you paid your internet, you have access to the internet and all the stuff that you have with it, assuming that you pay your bills and everything with it, or wherever you're at, they give you access to the internet with it. The second step is is called the DNS. All right. So the domain name server basically connects to looks up this Amazon.com, which is also known as the domain. I'm going to call this thing the lookup right here. All right. So look up. So in here, it basically looks it up and it converts it from the domain name. In this case, it's called Amazon.com, which is it's a lease, right now, domain name, and it converts it to an IP address, which is called the Internet Service Protocol, and it's a number. I'm going to make up a number. I don't know what that is with it, so I'll just call it 121.61.71. Okay, something like that, fictional number. And it basically takes you to the Amazon web server in this case with it. And the Amazon web server now allows you to access its index page, which is its home page on its server with it. So I'm going to call this as the home page. Also known as, most of the web servers called the index page. Index.html. So you have this web page, now it's returned, and it displays it back to you, going back to from the same route, and displays it here. So I'm going to say this is 1, 2, 3. Third step is it actually gives you access to this, right? And brings it back to the same route, and it displays it onto your computer here. And it displays it, right? Now, these 4 steps that I just showed you happens in what? 1 or 2 seconds, basically, right? So it displays the Amazon.com website with it, but you also notice that most of the web page now, if you have something like very customized as a username, it has a password as well. So this can be a username, and this is a password, like your eCampus, your bank account. It also has a submit button on here as well, right? All these things are actually pretty common in today's page with it, right? And the next thing is you fill out all of this with it. So the next step is, instead of making a request now, you're making what's called an authentication. You are saying authentication. This is the step that you say who you are, with a username and the password. You're making a request, same as what you did up here, but this time you have a username and password that comes across it and makes this path, still comes through the internet service provider, still goes through the domain lookup, and it gives you this access right here with it. So still it comes here, and this time it compares in a database, some sort of database that your vendor has, and it does it looks up it looks at your username, and it checks equal, meaning does both of these value there with it equal the password with it. And if this is true with it, it's going to actually return same route, takes you back here to your profile page. So this is an authentication, and this is a secure. Nowadays you will see what's called MFA, Multi-Factor Authentication, which is also using what? Your cell phone. You say who you are, but that's not enough. We want to know if you have that device to allow you to have access to this web page with it. Again, all of this takes place in seconds with it as well. So all this is, it actually displays here is your profile page of, it could be whatever that you basically have access to. So this allows you to do this. Now, here's what I want to hone in on is this web server right here. So web servers are like very they're hierarchy. They're in some sort of remote place, very secure place with it. The first thing I want you to notice is this domain that you're typing in right here. You get access only to it into the web browser. So we call that HTTP with it, and it has // HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So this right here, to access this, all this particular protocol here, you see this in the web server. This is in port when you build a web server, it's port 80, and I also want to think of you to have access to the file structure to transfer your file, to set up your files in here with it. We use a protocol that's called File Transfer Protocol. And that's basically, normally it's set as port 20 or 21 on all these with it. So it's a different port where you connect to. So we're going to use what's called FileZilla, an FTP software. It's a client software that you will connect to your web server with it. So we'll talk more about this right here with it, that you can access from your computer to transfer to here with it. But to access the pages on here with it, you will have to use what's called the File Transfer Protocol, which is also known as the FTP. Now, you will occasionally see this HTTP and has an S after it. It stands for secure. Alright, so they add an S to it just for security with it. You also have this right here. You also see what's called FTPS as well. The S could come in front or after, depending on if it's a Unix box or a web server with it, a Windows web server with it as well. So just to be wary, we'll get more into this for you to understand all this with it. But this is what I want to hone in, is this part right here, for you to understand when you're building a web page that you look at it on your computer with it. Most of the time, the protocol is going to be 127.0.0.1. All right. 127.0.0.1. This is what we call a local host. So we call that a local host. Well, local means it's on your computer. So if you're building a web page and I don't see it because I can't see your web page because it's on your computer. For me to actually see your web page, you have to upload your. Hey, I'm sorry, I had a phone call that came in and I had to stop the video in the middle with it. I just want to add in the last part for this is that when you're building things on your local computer here, your local computer here with it, what you're going to do is you're going to actually view your web page through the visual code, which is the IDE that's on your local computer, and you're going to do what's called a live server, and that's in your web browser. You're going to see a 127.0.0.1 is the IP address. That's on your web server with it. But everybody's going to have a domain on the production server. I'm going to call this as the production server. Your computer is going to be called the development server with it. So this right here is what you see, but I need to see it on the production server with it. So when you need to upload your page from here by connecting FileZilla to transfer this file structure onto the web page with it. All right. So so on your class exercises, you would take screenshot of what's on your development server. But when I grade it, I would like to see what's on the production server to match what's on your development server. Does that make sense? So this is your computer. I cannot see your computer. I can only see your files when you upload it or transfer it to the FileZilla. All right. So make sure you understand this this concept with it. That's all. I'm going to stop the video right here. This is the end of how our internet production class works with it as well.